Yeah, so this is it.
So this is my high school.
There's our football field there on the lower end. I actually like football better than basketball, especially in the South. I mean, football is king here. If you kick off to us and we have the ball like on our 30-yard line, my first play is a bomb. I'm gonna throw, just like Johnny Unitas, man, I'm gonna throw the ball deep trying to get a touchdown on the first play. We were the David T. Howard Rams. Blue and gold will save your soul. I'm so glad I'm from Howard High. I'm so glad I'm from Howard High. I've always been into sayings, like now you know my words and my rhymes. Our coaches used to always tell us here, it's not where you come from, son, it's where you're going. I'm Walt Frazier, and this is my beginnings.
This episode of Beginnings is presented by Melrose Credit Union.
The Walt Frazier story, very interesting story. Growing up in humble beginnings, the oldest of 9 kids. Never dreamt of the success that he's had, but was always preparing. When I was growing up, we used to walk everywhere, man. We rarely took the bus. You know, my dad worked like at the paper company, and my mom was a housewife. And I was just into sports, man. That's all I wanted to do. Football, basketball, baseball. Atlanta was a very excellent environment, actually, for me to grow up. It's a black city, a lot of prominent black people here, black businesses, hotels, insurance companies. So early on, what your parents are telling you, you can be whatever you want to be, and you're seeing other people here that are driving Cadillacs and living in big houses and owning their own businesses, so that gives you some hope. I often think back to my youth, being the oldest of 9 kids.
That brings back a lot of memories.
I was always a role model before I knew what the word meant.
Yeah, we're heading to my house now where I grew up.
My mom definitely was the catalyst. She was 16 when she had me, so we were very close. Being the first, she was very strict on me, too. So my house was duplex. There used to be like a wall here. That's the wall I used to cry on after losing games. I'd come home and sit on the wall. But if you ever came here and asked my mom, "Where's Walt?" she'd say, "Go down to the playground." I guess the most profound thing about growing up here was I was raised by a village. My grandparents, my neighbors had carte blanche to discipline me. By the time I walked from school, if I was doing something wrong and I get home, my mom was waiting at the door with the strap for me. She always told me that once I became Clyde, when I'd come home, she'd just say, "Son, don't gain the world and lose your soul." Like I would be home for 2 or 3 days and she'd go, "You know, you're still the same." So I was happy that even with all of my success, she could see that I was still the same person. In this area, we were poor, but we never knew it because everybody was in the same boat. My whole life was in a 4 or 5 mile radius of where I grew up. Like my high school, my grade school, I walked to go downtown where I used to work. I talked about my life being shaped here, everything, but I think more than that, segregation was a catalyst for me. Yeah, segregation is oppression. You can't go where you want to go or do what you want to do. You're denied equal rights. So these were the things that my character was built upon. Because when you're told you can't do something and you're treated like a second-class citizen, you're looked down upon, it inspires you if you have any pride at all. People can look down on you, they can talk about you, they can call you names, but they can't take away your pride. And that's why people now talk about my dress. I'm always dressed up because that's a sense of my pride and character. When I go out, I'm trying to give a positive image. So it not only reflects on me, but it reflects on my race. We're at my first job, the Zesto. I was a curb boy here. I almost got fired right on the spot. The first car that I waited on, I almost spilled a drink inside. This is it right there. As I approached this corner, I was a safety patrol. I was the captain of the safety patrol. So I used to help kids across the street in the morning. That was my job. So this is my corner right here. When the light changed, I would take the kids across the street. I would stop the cars, and then I'd have the kids coming across the street. This would have been the front of the school right along in here. So the school was named Nathan B. Forrest Elementary School, which was so ironic because I found out later that this guy was such a racist, Nathan B. Forrest. But we didn't know how lucky we were growing up in the South. They didn't have the money to put in asphalt, so all the courts were dirt, and obviously that's better for your legs because of the stress of running on asphalt. This was where it all began. So there was one basket on this end and one basket on that end. You know how I learned to shoot under pressure? Like I said, when I was like in fourth grade, I was playing against sixth and seventh graders. Guys used to put me in games shooting for nickels, and they tell me I better not lose. So that's how I learned how to shoot under pressure. The older guys said, you better not lose, I'm gonna kick your butt. Everybody played here, man. On the weekends, it was packed. Guys from other areas used to come over and play. I was one of the best on the, you know, there was several other guys that were considered good with me, like we were the best players on the playground. And then one day I was here, it must have been on a Saturday. So this guy come up, he goes, somebody want a job, go down to the Zesto. I just quit. So we went down to the Zesto. The Zesto is like a Dairy Queen. When the guy goes, you got experience? We go, yeah, we had no experience, man. It was a disaster. At the time, it was just a window. You couldn't go inside to eat. You just order from the outside window. So if you pull up, I come to your car, take your order, go give it back, bring out the tray, put it on your car. So the window was right about right here. I almost got fired right on the spot. The first car that I waited on, I almost spilled a drink inside. This thing in those days, 10 cents was a standard tip. Then sometimes you get $1, man. We couldn't believe it. Somebody would tip us $1. Let's check it out.
54. How y'all doing?
Hello. Yeah, so a lot of memories, man. One of my first jobs.
Oh yeah, they have the pictures on the wall over there on the corner. They have a mirror on the wall of the old
Oh, yeah?
stuff. Yeah, they do. It's right down the wall. It's big on the other side.
Ah, there it is. This is it right there. This one. I can tell you order from the outside. You see the cars. Hey, how you doing, man?
Hi, I'm Damon, one of the managers here.
Oh, okay, right. We're going down memory lane, man. Memory lane.
Yeah, you pretty there?
Yeah, man. In the summer, I used to be happy to go in here. It'd be so hot outside.
Cool.
Right. I used to do the double deckers back in the day, the Maltas, yeah, all of that, man. A long time ago. Who owns it now? Is it still the Greek guys?
Yes, same family. The sons own it now.
Yeah, I used to work with Tom and Pete. I was in the 8th grade when I started working there. Pete and Tom were the owners. So when I saw them, man, it was a moment of joy.
From the good old days.
So seeing those guys together again and talking and that they still remembered me was very profound.
Let me tell you a story. He used to put a cup back there on the corner of the store, and he used to get another cup and throw it up there on the cup.
That's how we used to play in the winter. Okay? We would play basketball back there with the paper cups. We used to get a stick and play with the cup, right, hitting the ball like baseball. Pete used to get mad at us like, what are you doing, beating on the windows. I had forgotten, man, because after school, I used to go to work. So I get out of school, I go down there and work from like 5 to 11, and then come home and go back and go to school. So I was doing that for a couple of years until I stopped playing in the 10th grade.
He used to get all my milkshakes. All mistakes we make used to be Walter.
Throw them in the freezer, give them to us. I had forgotten about the discipline that I had and the determination and the willingness to work. All right. So
thank you very much, buddy. Thank you, okay?
So good to see you.
Yeah, same here. Memories. Well, football was, I think, definitely my first love because in the South, football is king. This play was called 22 Trap. And I turned like I'm faking it this way, and then I gave it to my back up the middle. He went like 50 yards untouched, man. So this is my high school. David T. Howard. Being back there today was very provocative, man. Poignant memories. The best years of my life were in high school. People can't believe that this was time doing segregation, so a lot of our students lived right by the white schools, but they couldn't attend there, so they had to come all the way here. This place defined my character, my fortitude, my aptitude. This is where it all began. I didn't think I'd ever have as much fun when I left high school. I actually cried because I enjoyed high school. Obviously, sports, that was my whole life. Well, football was, I think, definitely my first love when I played here because in the South, football is king. That's one play I remember particularly. This play was called 22 Trap. I get the ball, and I turn like I'm faking it this way, and then I gave it to my back up the middle. He went like 50 yards untouched, man. Johnny Unitas was my idol, so I could pass like 60 yards. And sometimes I could even throw with my left, like 5 or 10 yards. Like sometimes guys would have me and I could just throw it with my left hand. So I had more scholarships for football actually than basketball. But I knew there were no black quarterbacks, so once I went to college, I was just only interested in basketball. There's our football field there on the lower end. It looks very nice now, but when I played, it was all dirt and gravel. The main thing that they taught at this school was education. That's your way out. So it's invigorating and it's also devastating when I come home now because all the people that have catapulted me to this position, they're no longer around. And I see all of my coaches, my teachers, all the people that made it possible that, I can't share my success with them. I think serendipity plays a big part in my life. Well, my sister had told me the place opposite of my high school. She goes, you go over there on the weekend, you'll see all the guys you used to play with. They told me like some of the guys hang out here. Yeah. Walt Frazier.
I know you remember me taking angles.
What's up? I was flabbergasted. Man, I was just telling them about you guys. That after all these years, like I've been out of high school 50 years, that these people would still be congregating. They're doing a feature on me, like growing up in Atlanta. Yeah. And I remember my sister told me, like all the guys like hang out around.
Yeah, man.
So,
Okay.
but this was my idol. I used to. How serendipitous. We go in there and I see the guy I used to idolize, the quarterback who played ahead of me.
You know, we had to go get his mother to let him play because he was working down at Zesto.
Like in gym class, I would be passing right-handed, left-handed. I could throw the ball with both hands. So the coach was always saying, son, when are you gonna come out for the team? I said, oh, I gotta work, coach. But then sometimes he see me standing out there watching practice, he goes, I thought you told me you had to work, son. I go, yeah, I had a day off today, coach, so I couldn't even come and watch, you know, because when he see me out there, he'd be badgering me about coming out for the team.
Yeah, he was working out at Zesto.
Well, you know, I wasn't working there. I told him I was working there. And then this one guy went to a different school, so we were playing them in this championship football game, and he remembered when they almost had me sacked.
I'm sure you remember because you broke my heart. You broke a whole lot of wild. I was an 8th grader and an aspiring football player, and that year we played Howard for the city championship. We were leading a couple points, less than a minute left in the game, and they had the ball about the 30-yard line. Well, our team put on all out blitz on him, and we had him. We had him taking him to the ground, and he had the ball in his right hand. As he was falling to the ground, he switched it over to his left hand and threw it into the end zone. And that's the play that I remember more than any other play in the high school.
Well, actually, I didn't throw it to the end zone, but we got to the 1-yard line. So we get back in the huddle, everybody's talking. I go, shut up, I'm calling the play. So the huddle got quiet. Quarterback sneak. So, I can feel it now. When I got in the end zone, somebody scratched me all over. Somebody just ran their nails all over my neck, man. And I'll never forget, it was like a cartoon. You look in the stands, you see hats flying up in the air. Everybody was...
Except on our side.
Oh, that brought back so many memories, man.
All right, good seeing you, Walt.
Okay, man. It was a revelation. All right, guys. Pleasure, Larry. Nice seeing you, man.
Nice seeing you, man.
All right.
What's serendipity?
All right. This is my sister.
He is the second star in the family. I'm the first star.
In the 70s, I was the first guy to endorse the sneakers, the Puma Clyde. It was a fashion shoe. You see them all dressed up, but I'm still wearing the Clyde. I'm the oldest of 9 kids, yeah. 7 sisters. I had 7 sisters and 1 brother. So I've never met a woman that know more about babies than I do. My goal, my mom provided the impetus because she was always talking about she wanted a house with a big kitchen. And as a kid, I remember like used to pray, please let me be a football player, basketball player, you know, to help my mom. So finally in 1973, I was able to do that, to buy her a big house. Most of the prominent blacks live over here, Maynard Jackson, Andrew Young, Hank Aaron. This was like the first white flight area where the white people were moving out and the blacks could move in. So this is the house, but when I bought it, this was the last house on the street. One of the sad memories, you know, most of the people are gone, my mom's no longer around, but now this is the focal point of my family, the Fraziers. Right now, my oldest sister lives here, but on the weekend, they all congregate here on holidays, so this is the place that's keeping the Fraziers together.
How are you?
All right, how you doing? This is my sister.
I'm Mary. Hello, hello.
So she's the matriarch of the family now, keeping it together.
I am that. I keep everyone in line.
So come on in.
All right, come on in. Oh, we've always been very close. He's firstborn, I'm second. But he always tried to tell me what to do. He is the second star in the family. I'm the first star. and he's number 2.
For now.
For now. For now. He always thought he was a star. We call this the Wall of Fame. If your picture makes this wall, you are in. All of the Frazier families, sisters, children, whenever you send us a picture, it's here. The top shelf up here is reserved for Walt. So everyone always stops here because they're in awe of all the pictures about Walt. This is an action figure of Walt in his New York Knicks number 10 uniform. And of course, the plaque for the 25th All-Star game, which he was the MVP in that game. That's his picture when he went into the Hall of Fame to the left up here.
It's humbling. It's very humbling, but I know you can't forget your past. Well, I'm sure a lot of people are surprised about this guy, Clyde, but this is what it's all about. This is where it started. These people knew me when.
So what was it like when you saw your brother, first time you saw a picture of him? He's wearing the fur coat and the hat and the whole thing.
I loved it. I loved it. I was so proud of him. We all were. We were just so proud. And for him to be in New York and to be playing in Madison Square Garden. Oh, wow, that was it.
This is a spalding shot we did in one of the playgrounds in New York with the kids. I think in the 70s, I was the first guy to endorse the sneaker, Puma Clyde. This one was up in Harlem someplace, where we found the graffiti with the playground that they put up there. There it is right there. We made it very fashionable, like it was a fashion shoe. You see them all dressed up, but I'm still wearing the Clyde, so it became synonymous with style and fashion. I wonder where those kids are now. Well, this is something I used to do frequently when I was a player. I just rent a car and drive around to the places that we just visited, and they look so small now. And when I was growing up, it was so intimidating.
There are so many who are not here to see the end of it. You know, my mother, father, all those have gone on, grandmother. But those of us that are here, we are just so proud of him. It's wonderful. It's almost unexplainable. I guess guys were just drawn to him. He was always in that leadership role, but always a strong person, a determined person, because he wanted something better for himself and the family.
You know, sitting here, I'm standing on the shoulders of a lot of people that unfortunately are no longer around. So if I can inspire some people to reach different heights like I have, then, that's what I want to do.